Welcome to my channel. My name is Ryan. I don't even know, high carb regenerator still applies. I realized that this channel was becoming a little bit of a dictatorship prior to me taking a break. And I had to go consume as much information about the human body as humanly possible, to the point where I can barely even do it anymore. I'm like brimming. And I want to spread the information, but again, I don't want to be this dictatorship at all. I don't really like dictatorships. That being said, I know what I've tried. I know what the results have been. And I've talked to a number of people who are in my situation, and they have also received the exact same results from the exact same things that I have tried. Somebody has come to me recently and told me probably why that is. And I'm not going to make this video about that, but that subject is brown adipose tissue, BAT. So when you inactivate it, it really puts a strain on your liver. And the reason I'm saying this is because the liver is going to tie into the subject of this video, which is the lymphatic system. Again, I'm going to keep talking about this because I think I have found what's causing a lot of people's issues. And I think that's the lymphatic system. But BAT is also something that is been activated by the diets that we eat, by the processed food that we eat. And I'm not going to talk about that in the video. That's as much as I'm going to say. So I have been researching lymphatic again because, again, I think I said this in my last video. I literally sat in the other room and I prayed. I'm like, God, I'm not even really doing this for vanity's sake anymore. I'm just tired of carrying this around. I feel like it's eroding my pelvis. And I feel like if I ever figure this out, the amount of humans that I could help would be insane. Truly. I keep having these different people pop into my feed, and I'm watching them with now open arms and open mind. Whereas prior to this, I had that durian rider mentality, which you see in a lot of the people that I've had on this channel, is sugar, 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 sugar. Now, sugar, I will talk about in the next video. And I had to back off from that. I had to back off from the idea that we need to be vegan. I had to back off from a lot of things, and I couldn't do that while I was making videos on this channel. And I come across this doctor, Doc Talks Detox. And then I came across another one, which I'm not going to play on this video, Stop Chasing Pain. And I can't remember his name. I think her name is Caitlin. She's behind me right now. You'll see that in a second. Some of the stuff she was talking about was profound to me because I thought I was taking care of the lymphatic system by jumping on the trampoline, going for walks, and all that other good stuff. But I do have a picture here. Actually, I didn't pull it up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found the picture. I've got multiple, none of which are easy for me to look at. I got to tell you, because it's just, I can see the pain that this body of mine is in. I can see it. I just can see it, and I know it. But this is what happens to me after I work out. Now, prior to this, I mean, obviously this isn't 100% going to be going away, but a lot of this water retention is not there. Like under the chest, under the gut. You see it in all of my pictures here. You see this, like this ring that I get down here of just water. And part of the thing is, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with this. It's called the cisterna chyli. I don't know how to make this any bigger, she said. And it is the biggest lymphatic drainage site on the body, node on the body. And where is it? It's in the diaphragm. Well, what did we just discover about me like a month ago is that my rib cage was sitting too far off my spine, basically, to actually activate my diaphragm, because my diaphragm was so far distended that it wasn't even functioning. And when you have that happen, and I see this on a lot of fat people, A lot of us fat people have a very straight back, we're backwards like this, trying desperately to not fall over, fall forward, because our center of gravity has changed because our gut is so big. And so you lean back and you basically deactivate all mechanisms that would activate or to move all of these lymph nodes. So I felt the need, as I'm editing this, to add this in because it's something that I found. I didn't exactly find it the way I wanted to here, but if the sternochyli, which is the one I was just talking about, is significantly is blocked, it significantly affects eating by disrupting the absorption and transport of dietary fats and fat-soluble vitamins. It can lead to severe nutritional problems, including malnutrition, unintended weight loss, and fatigue. Now, this one does not make sense because then if I ask, can a clogged lymphatic system cause weight gain? Yes, a clogged or inefficient lymphatic system can cause weight gain. Now, the reason I brought this one up is I found, and I don't know exactly how I phrased it, so I couldn't find it again. If this sternochyli, which does it have an image of it again, is blocked or fairly blocked, it can make it so if you have like 2 bites of food or 3 bites of food, you're just completely full. And I've had that happen to me so many times, it's not even funny. This is so weird. I go back and forth and it's a different answer than the one I just had. You guys saw that, right? I didn't change this at all. That's insane. The question did not change, but the answer did. Anyway, malnutrition, transport to blood system. And again, if people did not know this, your lymphatic system is actually the one that moves your dietary fat. So those of us who were talking about the Randall cycle, in my mind, the Randall cycle is just complete bullshit at this point, but what do I know? Anyway, I wanted to add that in there. So if you're going through, like if you're one of these people like me, especially with potatoes, eat like 2-3 bites of potatoes and immediately can't eat anything, even though I was like so hungry prior to that I felt like I was going to throw up. Just wanted to add that in there. I think, depending on where you read, you have between like 400 and 700 lymph nodes in your body. And the majority of them are in your abdominal region because you're supposed to be diaphragmatic breathing, which if you're a mouth breather, you're not doing, which I'm actually not a mouth breather. My diaphragm was too far out, so it wasn't working anyway. So it really didn't matter. So I'm not a mouth breather, but it really didn't matter because I wasn't activating this. I went to the lymphatic woman Monday. She was working. I'm like, why are you working on my liver and my spleen? And she's like, I'm not. I'm trying to get your rib cage, in the right place. And she has. I can feel like there's so much of a difference in my back and my rib cage right now that it's taking me by surprise. It's crazy. And matter of fact, I just got off of my new Cellerciser, which is absolutely incredible. I'll talk about that in a new video or another video. And I didn't even open my mouth the entire time. I could actually run full speed, for me anyway, on this trampoline without having to even open my mouth because I wasn't trying to suck down air so much. So whatever she's been doing has been working, but it is very uncomfortable in the beginning and still even while I'm making this video. But I told her yesterday that she's basically, it feels like my neck, my head is out of its shell. I felt like this before. And it's allowing everything else kind of just fall into place. My body's not trying to make up, and it's not hyperextending its joints and hyperextending itself to try to make up for where my neck was actually supposed to be. The reason I'm making these videos is A, for documentation for myself, but B, if you have this stuff going on. Now, none of this has been cost-free for me. So if you've got a family and you've got a lot of expenses and maybe you don't have a lot coming in. I get it. It sucks. Like none of this has been cheap to getting to this point. But to give to people an idea of what might be happening with you is where I'm starting from. So now here's the next part of this puzzle. So I come across this. Here's her channel name right here. It is Doc Talks Detox, just in case I forget to link this video. And she has 7 videos leading up to this final crescendo that I'm just going to show. Now her audio is really bad. I don't know why she doesn't have a mic. But this will give you kind of an idea, and I'm not going to watch this whole video, but I just want to watch the beginning of this.
Specific 7. You guys have asked for me to do a tutorial on exactly how to do it, how to put it together, so that this is something that you can apply in your day-to-day life. So I'm literally going to walk through with you on how to do it. So the first things first, you got to know the specific 7 lymph nodes. If you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, go and watch.
Legit, go watch these videos. They're not very long. I watched them on two times. You get the information, and then you apply it.
Watch each of those videos. I did every single point individually. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it together, and we're going to talk through how many times, how often, all of that. All right, let's get started. The very first thing we have to do is we have to clear our termini. So remember, our termini are located above our collarbones in that divot. So if I were to shrug my shoulders and roll them forward, you guys can see that triangular area there. This is exactly where the termini is located. Now, what is the termini? The termini is where all of your lymphatic fluid drains, all of it. Everything from your head down to your toes. It all drains up above your clavicles.
And if you've ever watched some other very big channels too, by the way, people talking about lymphatic drainage, they always talk about starting in different spots, everywhere other than up above the collarbone. And I used to do this. I used to have dry brushes. I used to try all this stuff. And I'm like, this shit doesn't work.
In that location. So what you're going to do is you're going to open it up and clear it. In one of the 3 methods that I showed in the past, I'm going to do the crossed-armed one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ring finger and my middle finger, and I'm going to place it on the termini, and we're going to do 10 to 50 pumps. Now, each of these pumps is going to be about 1 pump per second. So it's super, super gentle. Now remember, pressure is also very important.
Okay, I'm doing her a disservice if I even watch this whole video. I'm going to link this particular video, hopefully, I remember. If I don't, again, here it is. Looked at the specific 7, a step-by-step lymphatic drainage tutorial. Doc Talks Detox. Go watch her, but start off with those 7 videos. I think she's even got a playlist, so it makes it even easier. And she talks about people who, if you cannot lose weight, again, if you're somebody who is on some kind of diet and it's working great for you and you don't have the constant yo-yos, maybe your lymphatic works great. I don't know. For those of you who are in the band camp that I have been in my entire adult life, my entire life, really. But it started getting really bad after I started dieting. If you're watching and you made it this far, chances are you're in this camp. Maybe this is a thing you want to look into. And the tie between the liver, the lymphatic system, the stomach, and the intestines is so incredibly tight that if one of them is off, they're all off. And so you got to figure out what comes first, what are you going to work on? And I tell you what, like I didn't know this until I started seeing this lymphatic lady, that Billy Rubin, which I had when I was born. I was incubated for the first 2 months of my existence on this festering reptilian overlord turd. That's a liver issue in this building that I occupy. And it's probably true. It's probably the case. So if you have somebody in your area that does lymphatic drainage, maybe check them out. Maybe I don't know, because the woman and actually multiple doctors and I have agreed that there's something going on in my torso that is just not right. And again, another thing is your lymphatic being backed up, Lyme and mold exposure within your body all have the same symptoms. So maybe you have a little bit of all three of them. I don't know. The amount of things that I learned in my hiatus from YouTube has been insane. And I don't even know how to do it justice with making as many videos as I probably should. So I'm going to keep up with it. Probably brown adipose tissue is probably going to be my next video, because they've actually done transplants of the brown adipose tissue within like rats and mice, and it like completely reversed their age, their everything. So this is the thing. And that's the last thing I'm going to say is if your brown adipose tissue is inactive, your liver is going to get way too many carbohydrates. And it doesn't know, it's an influx, because and you'll know that your brown adipose tissue is working when after you eat a meal, you get hot. Like I've felt this, especially with potatoes and pasta. I get hot, like my love handle area, my just torso period gets really hot. And that's your brown adipose tissue. Like, it's like a furnace, and it just flares up. It just absorbs all of those carbohydrates. It's like an ant that can lift 100 times its own weight. I mean, it will just go through that stuff. And then the liver only gets what it needs. But if you don't have that active, then you are kind of up a creek, because your liver gets way more glucose than it really needs. And then it's trying to function, it's trying to do that. And the liver does, like, depending on what source you look at, between 500 and 1,000 different functions. And so it's trying to do those 500 to 1,000 different functions. And it can't handle all that you're throwing at it, because your brown adipose tissue is not functioning. So then it starts making more lymphatic fluid than it's supposed to, because then it starts trying to dump this stuff into the lymphatic system. It is a hot mess. So it all kind of starts with the the liver, the lymphatic, the stomach, and the intestines. It's all in the trunk, everything in the trunk. And then so obviously your pancreas is going to get overtaxed. It's a hot mess. So it really does start with a lot of these things. And if you can, and again, I think a lot of people have felt this. This is actually what the cold plunges were supposed to do, and maybe do for some people, and actually did for me if it was in a body of water, but I've never had it activate in a shower or a bath. But if I was in like the lake or the ocean and it's cold, I'm talking like 50 or below degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius. I'm talking Fahrenheit. It will activate. You will get so hot. You actually wonder if you're going to make it through, because you're so hot. You actually start feeling like you're boiling. That's when you know your brown adipose tissue is functioning. Now, after I've eaten, I've never had that happen. I said I wasn't going to talk about that, and here we are, 100 minutes later. I'm going to cut it there, because I really want to make a own dedicated video to this. There are things that go on in your body that have more to do with just your organs and your body than the diet, because you can't tell me that these people ate whatever the hell they wanted to back in the 1940s, 50s, up until this processed stuff started really coming around, and they could eat as many really calories as they could just consume, and the body was fine. But I always want to assume it's not nefarious, but I'm sure it is. They discovered how to inactivate this bat. And so now all of us are getting fatty livers, and then the fatty liver is causing the lymphatic system to be backed up. And the lymphatic is dumping everything in your gut, and you're getting fatter. And then that's putting a load on your stomach, and your stomach acid is not where it's supposed to be. And so then it's dumping undigested food into the small intestine, and that's causing like candida and yeast, and then that's just dumping into your colon, and it is a mess. All right, that is my video. Hopefully this helped you. If it did, again, I started putting a donation thing down in, because these things take a while to make, and I'm tired of living for like making free videos. But anyway, hopefully this helped you out. I'm just going to keep making videos like this because it's so pushed off to the side that it makes me wonder why. Anyway, talk to you in the next one. I could keep going on. I could keep talking about all this kind of stuff. I will make a bat video most likely this week. So look out for that. And hopefully this one did you some good. Anyway, peace.